Hi guys, it's Jordan. We're going to go through the Arthrex tower today, the Synergy. So first thing you're going to want to do is plug the console in. And then once you do that, you're going to want to come back here and there's a little green power switch. Once you flip that power switch, the whole tower will come on. All the consoles should come on. So you should never have to hit the power buttons for each individual console, which is a really great feature, I think. Next, what you're going to do is put in the patient information, and you do that through this little touchscreen tablet right here. So you're going to pop up like this. You're going to want to select user normal, and then here's where all your cases for the day would pop up. You can preset all your cases in there for the day, and then just select each individual one, or you can add them case by case. So as you can see, there's already a case in there just for a random patient. That's not a real patient, but we're going to add a new case. So you'll go up to here to add new case. Under surgeon, you just click that. There's a drop-down menu with all your surgeons in, so we'll just use a generic surgeon. Next, you're going to put in your procedure, again a drop-down menu, and you can just scroll up and down just by dragging. So we're just going to do a generic arthroscopy. Next, what you can do is put your patient information in. So, patient's first name we'll say is John, last name is Doe, and this is where you put your patient identifier, either your MRN, your patient's last name, or any other identifier that your facility would use. Our facility, we just use the patient's last name. And then this is where you can either start the case or save it. So we're just going to save it. And as you can see, it popped up again. So this is where, let's say you had cases later in the day, you could just come back to this screen and say, okay, I'm doing John Doe now, so just click in that name and then hit start. You can also go back into the information and change anything that you needed. Let's say it changed from a left to a right for some reason. This is where you can just go back into the procedure again and change it. This is also where you can change the date, so you can preload them for later in the week. So let's say you're going to do a case next Tuesday, you can change the date to next Tuesday, so then you already have that information in there. You can also put in their date of birth, email, or any of those features if you'd like to. So we're just going to stay on today with John Doe doing an arthroscopy, and then we'll hit start. Confirm all the information saying you're doing what you're doing. Make sure everything's correct. And once again, just hit start. And then this is like the functional screen. This is where the nurse has all their information in. It's set up, ready to go with the patient. So, let's say you have the patient at the table, they go to sleep, you prep, scrubs handing all their stuff off. First thing they're going to want to hand off is the Inflow tubing. So the Inflow tubing, pretty simple to use. They just have to keep the end with the clip on it, and it says Inflow on it, so they'll have that end, and then they'll hand this off to you. So first thing you're going to want to do is pull this drawer out a little bit. It's on a drawer that slides in and out, which is very, very handy for this. And just pull up on this and let it flip up. What you're going to do is just follow the instructions. It says pull, so just pull that off. You can pull these guys out, and also this kind of just like pops off of there. And see this little flashing red light here? All you have to do is insert that into there. It should turn green. And then this is where people get messed up a lot of times. So, just to be more specific, there's always a green that matches with a little green notch in there, and there's nothing over here, so it's a clear notch. So green with green, clear with clear. So put it in there, kind of pull a little bit of tension on it, go right around the rings, pull this side down, push back. And now it's locked into place. So, then just shut it, flip that back over, and you're good. So this is where you would actually spike your bags with this tubing right here. We're not going to do that today so we don't waste any fluids. But once your bags are spiked, you can choose which joint you're doing. So let's say we're doing a knee, a shoulder, a small joint, or a hip. So let's say we'll do a shoulder today. Then you're on this screen. So once you're spiked, you can hit the run button. That's what will give the field all their fluid. If you ever need to put pressure up or down, there's a plus and a minus here. You can go up, you can go all the way down. And then once you're actually going, you can do what's called a lavage. So if you put that, it runs the water constantly for, I believe, 90 seconds. And that's just to help clear up any blood, any visualization problems, and that's what you can do for that. You can also boost it, which is kind of gives it like an extra little, boost of water, just to help for visualization as well. Staying on the pump, next, I'll open this one the same way, is the outflow. So you should be getting just this part in the red. So to do that, this one's a little bit more tricky, just getting it in the pump. So I like to start with it square like that, kind of put both sides over there and pull down, because when you pull down, it usually goes over. And then just kind of adjust it so that all the tubing's around the rings, because if it doesn't go around the ring, the outflow won't work. So when you have that done, just boom, close it. And as you can see, now that we have the outflow in as well, there's 2 arrows here. That's the biggest thing to know, because if you have the 2 arrows, it's going to be communicating with inflow and outflow, one arrow for each one. So that's pretty much the pump right there. What they're also going to hand off, we'll go top to bottom, is a light cord. We'll hand off, it's kind of like an elbow shape. This will always be plugged into the Wolf. There are 3 other formats, but that's just for other light sources if you use this or needed to use this for something else. But we will always use the Wolf for our arthroscopies. After that, you will use the camera. As you can see on the camera, there's a little half circle, and there's a half circle slot right there as well. So what you do, just line up the half circle to half circle, click it in. You'll have a little, kind of almost like a click, but you won't really hear an audible sound. You'll be able to feel it though. After that, we have what's the shaver. So the shaver, all you have to do, twist this off, and then there's a red dot, lined up with a red dot on here. There's either a handpiece on the left or a foot pedal on the right. Our facility, we only use the handpiece, so I'm not going to go through the foot pedal right now. But just so you know that there are both options. And finally, we have the Apollo or the RF one. That does the same thing. There's a foot one on the left, hand on the right. Just always be aware, line up the arrows to the little dot right there, and just plug it on in. Always be aware that the hand pieces are on different sides, so don't let that trip you up. If you're having problems and it's not working, that might be a solution, is just making sure it's in the correct spot. Alright, so let's say you're on the case. You want to white balance it. So you have the camera right here. You can either white balance it depending on your settings, or the nurse can do it. So just put it up to something white, and as you can see, there's a white balance button right there on the camera. Just click and hold, and white balancing is complete. Another thing is you can, I'm going to hook this up real quick for you so I can show you the, sorry. To turn on the light, right here. This is the power button for the entire console, so always make sure you use the LED one. Turn that on, and now the light's on. So, let's say you take a picture. There we go, so we have a picture and we want to save it. Next, what you do, we use a flash drive, so I'm going to get a flash drive real quick. So, what you would do, you would stick a flash drive in this little USB port, and then when you're done with that, you'll go over here to this screen again, and let's say you're done with the case, you'll just hit end case. Yes, we want to proceed to review. If you accidentally hit it, just hit no and it'll go back to that previous screen. And then this is where all your images will pop up. They'll automatically be defaulted to select all of them. So what you would do is you would hit export, and when you export it, a little USB symbol will pop up, and you can hit the USB symbol and it'll save. So after you hit that symbol, it'll also show up here, and then when the bar below it turns green, that means it's saved. A really important thing to remember is, as soon as you go to this review, it will start printing the picture, so you do not ever have to hit print unless you need more copies. So that's a really important feature to remember. Once you're done, printed all your pictures, everything happened that you need to have happen, just hit finish review. It'll go back to this home screen, and if you go back into user normal, the rest of your cases are still on there for the day. So that's just kind of a quick overview of the Arthrex tower. If you have any questions, leave some feedback and we'll get it figured out for you.